Hello. This is video 20, and if you are experiencing a sense of deja vu, it's because, yes, this is exactly the same tree I started with on the board last time. I'm starting with it on the board again. I'm just going to show you a real cool trick about these traversal things. The only difference between them, if you recall, is where I said we put that visit line that actually prints out the data or whatever it's going to do to it, delete it, print it out, save it, whatever. But they all actually have a close encounter. In other words, they each believe the lie that this is the root in the same order. Here's what I mean. If this is the starting point right here, and I'll put a little arrowhead to mean the starting point. If that's the starting point, they all start off thinking, well, you know, that's the root of the whole tree. And then they are lied to and thought that K is the root. And then the K lies and said O is the root. And O lies and said E is the root. And we hit the base case and bounce back up, think E is the root again, and bounce back up. And it ends up, this actually looks like, what, Spanish moss or algae or something. But this is the point of view of who is the root of the whole thing as it goes through the entire set of recursive calls. Now I think S is the root. After that, I think H is the root. And H says, no, this external node's the root. And then, no, the other external node's the root, yada, yada, yada. This is the order that all of these recursive traversals, that's the order of the point of view of who is the root and who isn't. And we end up thinking, you know what? That is the root of the whole tree. Why would I want to surround them in red like that? Well, for this reason. When do we visit each one of these internal nodes? I will describe the close encounters of the green line as close encounters, in which case, if you look at this, if you can see this picture well and see the green line, every single one of these circled nodes, the internal nodes with a letter in them, every one of those has three close encounters. H has one right here where it gets to be the root. Another one is it swings around between its two kids, and another one here on the way out when it's never to be seen again. Here's another one, S up here. S gets a close encounter when we first arrive there. It goes off to the left, then comes back and thinks that S is the root again for a little bit, and then takes off to the right child, does all that stuff, and then as a parting thought, it thinks, you know what, S was really the root of the whole thing all along, and then we return from there, and S is not the root anymore. So every node with a letter has a close encounter. The first close encounter for the root is right here. The first close encounter for K is right here, for O is right here, E is right there, W is here. I'm just, of the three close encounters with the green line, I'm just highlighting in dark pink with a dash sign the first close encounter of each one of those nodes. Now, let's play a little game. I am going to go around the green line with my finger and read off the nodes each time I get a close encounter with the node. Here I go. I'm going to start right here. It's my starting point. E, K, O, E, travel, 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 W, S, H, U, O, and that's it. No more close encounters and I'm back up. What did that have to do with anything? If you go back and compare the letters that I read them off just now, that's the pre-order traversal. The pre-order traversal prints out the data in the internal node at the very first close encounter of the recursive point of view of, oh, this is the root. Second close encounter. The second close encounter of E, it gets three. It gets the very first one, it gets the very last one, and it gets the one that's pretty close to the very middle. I'll put a little up arrow there. Here's a close encounter for K in the middle. Here's a close encounter for O in the middle. Close encounter for E. Close encounter for W. The middle close encounter for H. The middle close encounter for S. For this O. For that U. Now I'm going to try to ignore the minus signs. I've been there, done that. Now I'm only going to read off the letters when I hit the middle close encounter that I marked with a little arrowhead pointing up. Here we go. Here comes the green line. Da 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 da. E, O, W, K, E, H, S, O, U. The end. Go back and compare those letters as I read them off to the in-order traversal. Should be exactly the same. Haven't used black in a while. I'll use black. The procrastinating close encounter, the very last chance. The last close encounter of E is right here. See, what can I do? make a big bold line there. Here's the last one. I can mess it up if I want. Here's the last close encounter with K. Here's the last one with O. The last one with W. These are easy to see whether the others were or not. Last with E, last with H, last with S, last with U, and last with O. I'm going to go through the line again, and now that you know what to look for, you might look back in your notes and see what order the letters were printed out when we did the post-order traversal. That should be the black marks on this, the last of the 3 close encounters. Here goes the green line. A lot of traveling here before we do anything. E, W, O, K, H, O, U, S, E. So, what's the moral of the story? All of these different recursive traversals show up. I almost said visit. They all show up at a node and think that it's the root at the same time in the grand scheme of things. The only difference between them is when they do something about it. Do I do something about node H, or S, that's a better one. Do I do something about node S and print it out the first time I see it? Or when I'm swinging back around in between recursive calls? Or do I do something about it at the very end after all my recursive calls are done? That's the only difference between the 3 traversals. And that was the cool trick I was going to show you. There's not really anything new. Hope that wasn't a disappointment for you. I'll see you online.